when you send through the document that you need completed that has a whole bunch of questions that the person needs to type out so that you can get the content for the website, or you can get the content to help them to put together an advertising campaign, would you prefer that you have somebody who's really motivated to do that, that's going to get that back to you straight away? Or would you prefer to have somebody who is going to drag their feet, that you have to continue to prompt to get what you need from them in order to be able to help them?
Welcome to the Master Dealmakers Secrets podcast. And now, here's sales growth strategist, John Blake.
Welcome to Master Dealmakers Secrets. I'm John Blake. This is episode 193, and today we are going to be talking about the 5 buying currencies, which is an extremely important part of what we're going to be talking about today. But if you have got leads in your pipeline, people that might be sitting in your proposal sent or, waiting for confirmation part of your pipeline, and you want to convert more of those into paying clients, I've got a really powerful resource for you. It is at johnblakeaudio.com. What you will learn there, it's actually a 15-minute download, an audio download that actually walks you step by step through exactly how you can convert double the amount of leads that are in that proposal sent column into actual paying clients. Not only will you get the 15-minute audio that walks you all the way through it, what you'll also get are the exact word-for-word templates. So what to say when you call, what to write in your emails, but most importantly, when to email and when to call. And it's this balance that I've worked out over doing this for about 25 years on how much is too much, right? So that's one of the biggest questions I get. How much follow-up is too much, right? At what point is the person going to feel like they're being stalked and want to take out a restraining order on you? Will never happen with the system that you're going to learn from me. I learned it the hard way. I don't think I've ever had anyone take out a restraining order on me, but I have had a couple of people block my numbers. So I've worked out what works and what doesn't with this particular system. I've done all the hard work. I've made all the mistakes. You can get it at johnblakeaudio.com. Go and grab it, put it into practice, and let me know how you go. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 5 buying currencies. Now, I want to preface this with, I've got a client that is a registered training organisation, and as such, they get government funding. And the government funding allows them to be able to enrol people in their courses, and provided the person who is enrolling fits the criteria, they can have a large percentage of the course fee funded with government funding, right? So as an example, a course might sell for $6,000 and they might get $5,800 of that funded by the government, which means that the person that's buying is effectively getting that training for free. And there are certain skills that are in quite high demand in the community, and so these particular courses are funded by the government for that reason. So, like, what an easy sell, right? You get somebody who comes along that wants to do, and it might be, I think there's like community care. I might get these names wrong, but how to study to be a carer for someone who is disabled or has some kind of disability. I think community care is one of the course names. But most RTOs would sell similar type courses to this. And the total course investment, averages probably between about $5,000 and $6,000. And the RTO gets paid when the student completes the actual training. So they don't get all the money up front. The actual student has to complete the training before the RTO gets paid. So on face value, you might think, okay, well, that's good. Like you can have, it's an easy sell. Someone comes along and they enroll in this course. Most of it is paid for by the government. The person gets the training and then the RTO gets paid. But what happens in a lot of these RTOs is that they have a really high drop-off rate. And so this is illustrative of why we need to look at the 5 buying currencies. Because most people think that the number one buying currency is money, right? But it's not. It's actually one of 5 different areas that somebody enrolls, that somebody invests when they make a buying or when they make a purchase, right? And it's highlighted here because in this situation, the person doesn't hand over a lot of money. In some cases, they don't hand over any money, or at most, they might hand over like $100 or something to do a $6,000 course. And the RTO doesn't get paid until the person actually completes the course. They have a 50% drop-off rate, which means that the RTO has done a whole bunch of marketing, have generated the lead, have paid a salesperson to enroll the person into the course, and then it's all for nothing because the person completes 1 or 2 modules and then they finish up. So how do we fix it? Well, we can fix it by looking at the other currencies, but this isn't just relevant to an RTO. It's relevant to all sorts of different purchases, right? So I just use this as an example to illustrate the point. But these 5 currencies are present in almost every purchase.
A lot of people who listen to the podcast want to know what we do over at Master Dealmaker Secrets. And effectively what we do is we work with sales professionals and business owners all over the world who are seeing massive increases in their top line sales revenue. So we help business owners and sales professionals to effectively focus on the 3 key drivers to growing sales revenue in your business. The first one is controlling the message that you send out into the marketplace so that potential clients see and hear and read what you do as an opportunity as opposed to your competitors. The second thing that we do is we help you to create a direct path to the 20% of your ideal clients that will deliver 80% of the revenue. So everyone knows the 80-20 rule. We help you to develop a direct path to the 20% of the people that are going to give you 80% of your sales revenue in your business. And the third thing that we allow you to do, that we create a process for, is for you to be able to double the amount of leads that you get that convert into paying clients. So if this is of interest, we do have an application-only process to become involved in this particular program. And to get to there, all you need to do is to go to www.johnblakescall.com. So it's JOHNBLAKESCALL.com, and there's a couple of questions to answer there, and then what you'll do is get on a quick conversation with me, and I can find out a little bit more about what you've got going on in your business and see potentially whether what you are doing would be a fit for what we could help you with. And at that point, I can extend an invitation if it's a fit, and you can make the choice to come on board or not. So that's the opportunity. That would be the next step if you're looking at how you can take things to the next level. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast, if you're getting value from it, I invite you to do that, and I will look forward to talking to you. The website is www.johnblakescall.com. Talk to you soon.
So I'm going to list them. So the first one is time, right? So someone makes a purchase and spends money, but they are also going to be investing time in that particular solution to make it happen. So if we keep using the RTO example, we need to at the front end talk to that person, because the other thing I didn't mention is that a lot of these conversations might only go for 2 or 3 minutes. The person just said, "Oh yeah, you're eligible. Okay, what's your name? What's your address? What's your student ID? Okay, you're in." And then the conversation lasts 5 minutes, but there's not a lot of engagement on behalf of the actual student, which is why there's a drop-off rate. So first one is time. So it's like, okay, well, how this is going to require an investment of time of 10 hours a week. When will you be able to, what does your calendar look like in the evening? Where are you going to be able to invest the time to be able to do this? And so in order to answer that question, the person needs to, visualize themselves after dinner, instead of watching, 2 hours of Netflix, allocating 1.5 or, those 2 hours to actually learning this particular skill. So we've got to ask them that question, because in their head, they future pace themselves, they visualize themselves investing that two hours in learning something new, learning a new skill, as opposed to just plonking themselves in front of Netflix and binge watching, whatever's on at the time. So time is a currency. People are investing time, not just money. They are investing time. The second one is identity. And identity is the way I see myself, right? The way I see myself. So the sales process needs to have questions in it that engage that particular currency in the process, right? So in this particular situation, it would be, so tell me, you've got this qualification 12 months from now. What's that going to mean for you? And perhaps for someone that didn't have much going on prior to this, doing this particular qualification, that could be a really powerful thing. It's like, well, I'll feel more useful. I'll feel like I've got more agency in my life. That's a common word that everyone's using at the moment. I feel like I'll have more control over what I'm up to, right? So identity, they invest the way that they see themselves when they also invest in a particular product or service. The fourth one, so we've got time, identity, money we've already talked about, is energy, right? So it's going to require some energy, and time and energy are very similar, but it's like, walking them through or at least creating the motivation or uncovering the motivation, engaging the person to a point where they've actually got the motivation to want to invest the energy in this particular solution. Because if they're not engaged, they just won't do it. They will drop out, and then, there'll be another statistic. And the fifth currency is reputation, right? So reputation is what will other people think of me. So the person needs to visualize themselves in the future walking the earth as somebody who has this qualification, or as somebody who has bought this particular product or service. Now, I've spent a stack of time working this one example, but I think it's a great example because it's one of the few examples where money does change hands, but it doesn't change hands for the actual purchaser themselves. It changes hands because it's funded. But it's a classic example of the other currencies. And depending on what you're selling, we do have to a lesser or a larger degree, engage these other currencies to make sure that the sales sticks, that you don't have this drop-off rate, or you don't have cancellations, or you ultimately have a motivated client. Sometimes people say, well, why do I have to spend all this time, asking these questions? Well, because you are engaging the person that you're talking to. And if you have an engaged client, you have a motivated client. And what would you prefer to have? Would you prefer to have a unmotivated client, or would you prefer to have a motivated client? So as an example of that, if somebody is perhaps investing in marketing services, or they're investing in having a new website built, if you have got somebody who's engaged and motivated, when you send through the document that you need completed that has a whole bunch of questions that the person needs to type out so that you can get the content for the website, or you can get the content to help them to put together an advertising campaign, would you prefer that you have somebody who's really motivated to do that, that's going to get that back to you straight away? Or would you prefer to have somebody who is going to drag their feet, that you have to continue to prompt to get what you need from them in order to be able to help them? So there's all sorts of different examples that I can give you, but really today I just wanted to reiterate that it's not just money that people invest when they buy a particular product or service. They invest their time, they invest their identity, the way that they see themselves, they invest their energy, and they invest their reputation. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you on the next podcast. Cheers.
You've been listening to Master Dealmaker Secrets with John Blake. Subscribe to get more in-depth strategies and maximize your sales process with new episodes every other week. and double your inquiry to sale conversion with the lead flow you already have. Go to johnblakeaudio.com for his exclusive, free, no fluff audio training and companion PDF guide.